Matthew, thank you very much for joining Energy Live News. I would like to start with the IPCC report, just a week after the publication of this landmark report. Which do you think is its importance and implications?
I think the biggest implications from this recent report are the presentation of evidence that shows it's unequivocal that humans are the chief cause of the climate changes that we're seeing on the planet today. So before there's been a bit of doubt as to whether it's human caused, but now this report has shown that it is unequivocal and humans are responsible for most of it.
What we can do to significantly decrease further climate change and environmental issues?
That's a very good question. I mean, these are things that the individual can obviously take part in. So reducing the mileage they travel, the air miles that they use, using electricity only as and when. But really, it's something that needs to be done at a higher level, at governmental level. So policies need to be changed to ensure that these things are done on a much larger scale than they're being undertaken at the moment. And things such as governments mandating the phasing out of transport that uses fossil fuels, for example, and would be a great way forward. One thing that the UK has done is to say that the combustion engine will be no longer saleable from 2035. And I think that's one of the policies that perhaps governments could start to consider globally.
The UN chief characterized the IPCC report as a red alert for humanity. How worried we should be about the findings of the report? Do you share his comments?
Yeah, I do. I mean, a few people have asked me this question over the last week or so, and I would change the word from being worried to being concerned. Now, worried means that you kind of run around and do nothing about it. You just kind of panic. But if you're concerned about something, it puts a bit more of a positive spin on it. It means that we can still do something. So if people are concerned, then perhaps they will start to change their actions. They will start to tell other people about the problems that we're seeing and can perhaps convince other people and their MPs and governments and the like to make these changes. So we should be concerned because the changes that we're seeing on the planet are happening. They're happening ever increasingly. But the report also says that it's not too late to stop things getting completely out of control.
In the last few weeks, we see everyday wildfires burning in Italy, in Greece. What have been the most significant causes of the recent climate change issues we are seeing worldwide?
Well, in those regions, particularly Italy and Greece, but the temperatures have risen. Okay, so we're seeing in those places frequently higher temperatures. And what we're also seeing is less rainfall overall. So whilst we may well, some of the climate models are suggesting that parts of Europe may see more rainfall averaged over the year, that's going to happen in concentrated periods rather than throughout. So what we've seen in Turkey and Greece is long periods of drought where there's been no rainfall whatsoever, and which is a result of the changing climate that we're seeing. And coupled with that, the higher temperatures mean that the vegetation itself is just dry. And this is just a foretaster really of what we might expect in the future should we keep seeing these extreme temperatures and extreme droughts.
Obviously, 2021 is a really important year for the UK as it hosts COP26. Which do you think should be the main priority set by the government?
It's a very good question, actually. They're being very quiet on some of their priorities because obviously to make massive changes has an economic impact as well. So I think the government has a tricky job ahead of it to try and ensure economic growth, both for what we would call the developed world, but also the developing world, which really does need our help. And I think we hear the word sustainability used a lot nowadays, and a lot of people don't really consider what that means. But I think that is going to be the way that the priorities are wrapped up, that there has to be some element of sustainability here, that we can't just stop using our fossil fuels because that would be unsustainable. However, we can use them more considerately, and we can start to undertake increasingly more and more research into alternative fuels that we can use so that sustainable development can continue, and so that we can meet these United Nations Sustainable Development Goals without negatively impacting the environment. So I think the priority is to continue the world's economic development, but to try and think of alternatives, ways that we can continue that without having the detrimental effects on the environment that we see today.
Matthew, thank you very much for your time. It was really a pleasure talking to you.
You're more than welcome. You take care.